Gotham, Oakland. Peace, y'all. What's up? I'm back with a very, very important and urgent episode. I don't know really how to feel about this news. It feels personally validating that the story that I have been tracking about the no call in Oakland case seemed to continue to validate my hypothesis that the city of Oakland has been doing the bidding using city time, resources, and our hard-earned taxpayer money for the No Call in Oakland Coalition as well as the Sierra Club. And now it looks like we're going to get some real concrete answers, all based out of a federal bankruptcy case in the state of Kentucky, no less. Now, if you've been following Gotham Oakland, you know a little bit about this case. But if you haven't been following Gotham Oakland, I need to give you a quick primer. So we're going to put a link in the description in the YouTube. If you're watching on X, then go to YouTube and find it, or just go search back for a previous video. But we'll link to you about this lawsuit, and so you can get the full rundown because it's quite complicated and nuanced. But to put it simply, sorry about that, I'm a little halfway on vacation. To put it simply, Oakland really stepped into it. Not only did we lose the coal lawsuit that has been going on for almost 8 years at this point, where the city of Oakland has spent millions of dollars after we signed the lease allowing for coal to be shipped through Oakland. Then Mayor Libby Schaaf immediately went back on that lease, starting this war. No Coal in Oakland had joined it. They have a pledge that they strong arm everyone running for office. Well, they tried to. Judge Brenda, our special guest, as well as myself, I never signed that pledge. Even though I did not want coal in Oakland, I couldn't sign a pledge running for office without knowing everything that happened because the city of Oakland is my concern. My job is to represent the city of Oakland as an elected official, including the city attorney's office. The job is to represent the city of Oakland, not No Coal in Oakland, not the Sierra Club. That is actually illegal, potentially. We're going to get all into it in this very, very special episode today. So we're going to put this out sometime soon. It's raining. You don't have much to do today. It's Thanksgiving next week. Put this on. Listen to it. It's very important. Oakland is on the brink of bankruptcy. And even if we solve this bankruptcy, right after we think we've got it solved, we could be hit with a $100 million plus judgment for sticking our nose in someone else's business all the way across the country when we didn't even have to do it, on behalf of No Coal in Oakland and the Sierra Club. Now, that's my hypothesis, and I think I'm correct. So we're going to get into this lawsuit. We're going to bring Judge Brenda aboard first before we go through all of this because I don't want to keep her in the lobby. You do not keep the judge in the lobby. You bring her on stage so people can experience her brilliance and magnificence. So I'm going to do that first. Judge Brenda, welcome.
Hello. How are you, Seneca? Thanks for having me here.
So we're going to go through the first case. It's going to be in tiny print, but I'm just bringing it up so I can read from it. But I'm going to pause first. We're going to take this out the video, but I need to put my teleprompter up so I can read it from there so I don't have to look over like this.
Okay.
It looks a lot better. And then we'll go through the case real quick so people understand what happened. What is the Rule 2008 examination? What is the significance of No Coal in Oakland? Why were you so cautious about signing this pledge, ultimately deciding that you would not sign a pledge, saying that you would take a position in an actual losing case, and now we've lost yet another case in trying to stop this bankruptcy case, and it has been denied on all counts. And I think it's actually embarrassing. I mean, to me, it's embarrassing as a taxpayer, and I think it's embarrassing from a legal community, but since I'm not in community, as they like to say here, I'll leave that for you to opine for the people. But first, let me select my teleprompter, give me 1 minute, and then I'll bring up the case and we'll go through it. Western Bankruptcy Court, United States Federal Bankruptcy Court. So real quick, why is the federal bankruptcy court in Kentucky and not California? Does it matter what state it's in, just so I understand what's going on here? What is the significance of Kentucky, or is that just where the case happens to be?
I think it's just where the case happens to be.
Okay, so the most important part is that it's a federal judge in a federal bankruptcy case.
Correct.
Okay, so here we have in the background, now I'm not going to go again. We already have an episode on this, so I'm going to just kind of keep it really quick, and I'm going through this for people who are watching on the bigger screen, and I'm just going to go through the procedural background. The debtor is okay. Let me read the first. The memorandum opinion. The matter is before the court on the motion by the reorganized debtor for Rule 2004, not 8, my apologies, for examination of the City of Oakland, filed by the debtor, that's a person who believes they owe some money, right, Judge Brenda? Do I have that right?
Yes, let me I think we should clarify. What you're looking at is a prior opinion. You're not looking at the motion.
No, I want to go through just so people understand what they
Okay.
were trying to get.
I just wanted to explain what you're doing right now. It's not the most recent case that we're going through right now.
Absolutely. So this one, Insight Terminal Solutions (ITS), referred herein as debtor. For the following reasons, the court will enter the attached order granting the motion for the reorganized debtor for Rule 2004 examination of the City of Oakland. What the Rule 2004 examination means is that they get to look at all of the financial documents related to the sale of the Coliseum, as well as any dealings and communications with Untold Oakland and any deals or communications with the Sierra Club. Now, I bet you're wondering, what in the world does Oakland's Coliseum deal have to do with the Untold Oakland saga? What does it have to do with it, Judge Brenda? I can answer it. I want to know if you got the answer.
I want you to answer that.
Okay, so what it had to do with it is because Oakland stuck its nose in ITS bankruptcy case that they did not have to, which we're going to go through the court documents further that shows that this company went bankrupt. We had nothing to do with it. They could have had their own case and got whatever money and restructuring they wanted to. But out of spite and with zero interest for the taxpayers of Oakland, our city attorney's office, with I don't think any input at all from city council, went ahead and fought aggressively to hurt their bankruptcy case so they could not get a lot of money. And so the basis of that case was that they never had a valid lease. And so let's start at the beginning. I know this is complicated, but I'm going to try to make it real simple. 2016, I'm just going to say the coal guys, so you don't have to get confused about all the companies. The coal people, California Partner Group, Phil Tagami and Mark McClure, they bought the bulk place and the bulk coal terminal. I'm sorry, not bulk coal terminal. They purchased land at the Port of Oakland with the plan to ship coal from Utah. There's a whole bunch of coal sitting in the state of Utah, a bunch of it, billions and billions of dollars worth of coal. And it's sitting there and it's not producing more. They're not mining the coal. It's sitting there and it's not going anywhere. It's just sitting there. They had a bright idea to ship it to California and sell it through the Port of Oakland, and they would get really, really rich off of it. And Oakland, City of Oakland, would get all types of revenue from not only leasing the land, but also having jobs and all of that good stuff. That was the plan. Libby signed it. She signed the lease. Then immediately, because she had coal cars being shipped through Oakland, the environmentalists, the Sierra Club, and the No Coal in Oakland group, which formed right around that time, they said, hey, Oakland, we don't do that here. This is a progressive city. How did you sign us up to have dirty coal shipped through West Oakland, where you have a history of environmental racism and high rates of asthma and all of these other things that are happening? All of those things are true. But what I would say is it's interesting is right now we have multiple vehicle fires. We have RVs everywhere leaking sewage. We have a tremendous environmental catastrophe due to other progressive policies that have nothing to do with coal in Oakland. And there has been zero pushback from environmentalists. I just leave it out here for you to decide if they're hypocrites or not for yourself. Back to the narrative.
And if I can interject, when I raise
anytime, Judge Brenda, anytime.
those those issues with the no code people in Oakland as one of the reasons I was not going to tie myself to this code litigation and whatever they wanted me to do. I said I am very concerned about the other environmental issues that are affecting West Oakland, and they didn't want to hear that. It's kind of like it's cold, no cold, and that's what. But
They
which
were
I
like,
find a
no, no, no,
little
no, no,
bit
no, 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 no.
hypocritical.
What?
Yeah,
Other
exactly.
stuff?
I found it quite hypocritical that they would say you got to follow my agenda, and we don't care about the other environmental issues in Oakland. So, but anyway, I just
Because
had to put that
there's
out
no
there.
money in it for them. That's anyway, this is my feeling. So let me get back to the briefing. They signed the deal in 2016. The city went back on it. It started a huge legal battle that's been going on for 8 years. Finally, in January of this year, Oakland lost the lawsuit. It was determined that the lease was valid and they had the right to ship coal or do whatever they wanted to do. There's an appeals right now. They're probably going to lose that appeal. But the judge ruled appeals notwithstanding, for the purpose of any other legal saga or whatever, for lack of a better word, the lease is deemed valid for life. So that lease is a valid lease. How does that impact ITS? When Oakland sent lawyers to Kentucky, we said they never had a valid lease. And the judge says, what? They didn't have a valid lease? Man, I am not giving y'all that much money in this bankruptcy case. The city of Oakland's 12-page legal document that we're going to talk about in a little bit, that the judge refers to with a little bit of contempt, I believe, in the language, as much as you can read into the language. And that's why I have a judge here to tell me, judge to judge, I want to hear the judge's mind of people who are in this position, and how do you guys think and break this stuff down. Since you're retired now, you can give a little bit more in-depth I guess, insight to how you guys think and approach this problem solving. The judge basically didn't give ITS anything. They got like $20 million. They were valued at over $1 billion. The moment the lease was deemed valid and Oakland lost that case, we were sued for $1 billion in Kentucky because this company says Oakland, the city of Oakland, is the reason we went bankrupt. The judge says, you know what? I think I kind of agree with you. And to speed things up, let's get a look at Oakland's finances and see if they're trying to hide assets. What do people do before divorces or before any type of bankruptcy or any time they think it's going to be out of their control, their asset forfeiture? They try to hide stuff. And so the judge is like, I don't know. I think the stadium deal looks funny. I'm going to grant ITS the ability to look at the stadium deal. Really interesting. And when I saw this, I said, why is the news not covering this? So I'm going to go through it real quick. They filed a petition. They granted the rule in July 3rd, 2024. They filed for a motion, Rule 2004 for examination. And the Sierra Club filed for a motion to set it aside. They all lost. All right, they lost. Go watch the other Gotham and you can figure it out. And I'm going to get back to the next one real quick. They lost that. They lost that case, but then they appealed, which brings us to where we're at today, the actual appeal. Now, the motion to dismiss. Now, here we go. This is the first page. I made it a lot bigger. So I'm going to let you take it from here, Judge Brenda. And I'm going to ask you a few questions. First, we have our special guest. I forgot to bring that up. Retired Judge Brenda Harbin Forte. She's always the judge to me. It says here it's denied. What's going on here? You read the case. What's going on here? What does the city of Oakland try to have the bankruptcy case denied for? And why was our motion to dismiss denied by the court? And then I'm going to go through a series of documents and have you break them down for us.
Okay, sure. And this is an extraordinary opinion by the bankruptcy judge. It's extraordinary for a number of reasons. One, they saw through the city of Oakland's gamesmanship and games playing. and called out the city of Oakland for bad faith actions along the way in this coal litigation, and essentially said that the city of Oakland had misrepresented things to the court. But if you go back through, it looks at how basically you got here to the motion to dismiss. It has an excellent um, description and summary of all of the procedural matters before the court, and makes it clear basically that Oakland has lost at every step of the way in this litigation. So, so it goes through the terminal deal initially, the federal lawsuit, the sub-ground lease, all of those kinds of things that it goes through and explains what happened at each stage of this litigation. It talks as well about the city of Oakland's motion to dismiss and why it was rejecting the city of Oakland's motion to dismiss. And what you have up there is the city actively participated in the bankruptcy case when it objected to the assumption of the sub-ground lease and confirmation of the plan, because the city attorney's office had tried to say, oh, you should dismiss this case as to us, you should dismiss it because we really didn't participate in the case before, in the bankruptcy case before. And the judge basically laughed them out of court. It's like, what do you mean you didn't participate? You filed like a 12-page memorandum and everything. You were actively participating in this bankruptcy. So don't come to me now trying to pull my leg.
So you bring up something interesting. I filed a public records request for how much did this robust and well-briefed 12-page objection for the most important stage of the bankruptcy case.
Right.
Who did that? Who presented that? How much did that cost taxpayers? Because, and this is why, and my question is this. It looked like the judge put that in there in the decision because it was this robust and well-briefed 12-page objection that led to them determining that the debtor got so much less money than they anticipated. Would that be a proper analyst for a non-lawyer amateur guy like myself?
Yes.
Okay.
It's basically, and it's basically common sense. I gotta say that this opinion is just very, very disturbing on so many different levels, for the quality or lack of quality of legal work by the city attorney's office and by their outside counsel, and the complicity by the city council in all of this. And we'll talk about what liability they may have exposed themselves to for the shenanigans that have been going on. But, where's the oversight on this at all? And why is it that we're spending so much of Oakland's money trying to fight for a very small group of people and fight on behalf of a very small group of people, the No Coal in Oakland people? Why are they using our city attorney's office as their own personal law firm to fight what appears to be a losing case, because Oakland has lost at every step of the way? Every step. They are losing every case. And they just lost big with this motion to dismiss being denied by the federal bankruptcy court.
Before we get back.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
We got plenty of time. It's raining outside.
Yeah, no worries.
Before we get back into the case, I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Now, it is my understanding from being a well-briefed and busybody in Oakland that I have it on pretty good authority that the back and forth negotiations have gone something like this. And they talk about it actually, let me bring it up here. If you look at the bottom, it says the debtors believe that with sufficient time in the Chapter 11 case, they could negotiate resolution with the city of Oakland that will allow the project to move forward, enhance the value of the sublease to the benefit of the debtors' creditors. However, if the debtor cannot consensually remediate Oakland's overburden by collaborating and partnering with the city of Oakland, then the debtor further asserts that this court can and be empowered to educate or otherwise address the West Oakland Master Development Agreement dispute. Now, again, I like to break this stuff down to people who are listening, who that could be a little confusing. Basically, what ITS is saying is that throughout this whole process, even going through bankruptcy, we have always been willing to negotiate with the city of Oakland. We are still, at this moment, willing to enter negotiations with the city of Oakland. And I'm going to clip this part because this is very important, and I'm going to put this away so people can hear what I'm saying here and not be burdened by the screen. Because if you had one city attorney, which I wish had happened, but it didn't, and since Ryan Richardson may be listening to this, I hope he does. Right now, I believe if the city of Oakland was to contact ITS and California Partner Group, they could strike a deal that says, we will go back to business with the sublease. You can even amend the sublease so that we only ship coal for a certain portion of it, because they don't need the whole duration of the lease to ship the coal. Remember, this is not an infinite amount of coal. This is not a coal production deal. There's a bunch of coal sitting in a pile in Utah, and they want to ship it all and make the money from it because it's not making any money over there. And it's so much money to be made, billions and billions of dollars. Don't get me wrong here. It's going to make a lot of people rich. It could also help the city of Oakland out financially. They could negotiate that. And not only that, the money that they lost in the January case, the money that they're probably going to lose in this billion-dollar bankruptcy case, they're willing to drop the bankruptcy case, negotiate for legal fees, and not only that, the legal fees could be rolled into the lease forgiveness. So the city of Oakland never even has to write a check and can theoretically get back to making money, because right now they're not getting money from that lease. They're not paying for it. So right now, that is a potential theoretical offer on the table. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's a bit too optimistic. I think that before this motion to dismiss was denied, Oakland was in a stronger position to negotiate a favorable outcome for the city. I don't know that that's the case now. And I think that it is because the city of Oakland has been so hard-nosed and hard-headed about this all along. It is also because I was so vilified when I suggested that we look at a way to try to resolve this case that would be in the best interest of Oakland. And I got vilified with people being horrified about, how dare you talk about trying to resolve a losing case. And so now what we have is another instance of Oakland losing again. They have put the negotiating strength, the bargaining strength of Oakland has been diminished. And they should have been at the table a long time before now and trying to resolve it. So if it works out, fine. I still believe that the case ought to be resolved. But I do think that had the city of Oakland moved beforehand, instead of following the no coal people, instead of trying to figure out, again, losing how many times does Oakland have to lose before somebody with some common sense says, we need to reevaluate the strength of our case, and we need to try to figure out what is the best way forward. How can we preserve some of the things that are in our best interest? How can we do that without spending more money? And so I just, I don't know. I think that's optimistic. I think that would be a great plan. But somebody has to be an adult in the room, and somebody has to say that we need to sit down and look at how we can resolve this case, because it's no longer an option to continue to spend millions and millions of dollars on a case where we have lost every time we've gone to court. Every time. So I
just pulled up the No Coal in Oakland website while you were giving that well-deserved rant. And so people could see that they absolutely did villainize you. And not only that, they Brian Richardson's comments here are disturbing in retrospect because what they say, here's what Ryan Richardson says. I recognize city council and city administration are empowered to set goals for the city in relation to the handling of coal or petroleum coke at the former Army base. That said, I will not solicit or knowingly accept support, financial or in kind, for my candidacy from any developer. But there's accepting support from No Coal in Oakland, who's lost and who's used and hijacked our city attorney's department to the tunes of millions and millions of dollars and counting for a losing effort that it seems to have gotten us in such hot water that, and I'm going to get back to this case here, if we're getting sued for $1 billion, you guys,
Right.
how
And
serious this is? How worried should we be, Judge Brenda?
and by tying himself to the no coal position, he has told them, I will not even look at trying to resolve the case in a way that is in the best interest of Oakland. I am not even going to be open to that possibility because the no coal in Oakland people have basically threatened him. And he caved to that pressure. I refuse to do that. Nobody buys me. I still maintain that I will make decisions, would have made the decisions in the best interest of Oakland, made recommendations in the best interest of Oakland. But when you start putting yourself in bed with somebody and basically saying that this is what I'll do, all I said was that I want to remain neutral. I want to take a look at the case. I want to take a look at all of the decisions, the prior decisions. I want to look at the reasoning and the rationale, just as I have had the opportunity to look at this motion to dismiss and see the court's reasoning and rationale and make an assessment as to the strength of our case. That's all that I wanted to do. And nobody, not the city council, not the city attorney, or anybody else, has been doing that. And we'll talk a little bit about the exposure that the court in this decision made very clear to city council people, to the city attorney's office, to the city of Oakland, that you can be personally liable for the things that the city attorney's office has done in this litigation, and the things that the city of Oakland has done in this litigation. So I will talk about that.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. You know, I think it's a good time to move into that. So the rest of this case, and I'll put the links up in Gotham Oakland so you can read it at your leisure. It goes through all the reasons why the state denied the city's motion to dismiss on all counts. The city is absolutely one of the main contributing factors, according to the judge's opinion, in this bankruptcy decision. It feels as if this judge is very upset that they were lied to, given bad information, and they rendered a decision that could have caused financial harm, loss of employment, and livelihood to an entire company. And they intend to remedy that in an aggressive way. And I'm very concerned that that's going to be timed with the fiscal year ending. But let's talk about the personal liability issue. They reminded us of that. They took, what do you think about the judge taking time to say California tort claims authorize governmental liability for tortious injuries suffered because of the acts or omissions of public entities or their employers, Gong versus City of Rosemead, imposes vicarious liability. What is your definition of vicarious liability? What does that mean for us laymen here? I don't know what that means. What is vicarious liability?
Yeah. Vicarious liability is basically indirect liability. Although you may not have committed the act personally, you can be liable based on your position, based on your conduct. So it's vicarious liability, and it talks about imposes a vicarious liability on public entities for the tortious acts and omissions of their employees, including elected officials.
That means Ryan Richardson can be sued, right?
And the city council people who have participated in this and allowed this, because the judge found basically that the city has been acting in bad faith in not honoring this agreement, and in not allowing the coal to come through to do what it was supposed to have been doing. And
Because we
so,
had a lease signed.
yes, exactly. And they were told, and the judge said, this ordinance and everything that you passed, it's invalid. And basically, courts have told you that before. That ordinance where you tried to stop the agreement and everything is not valid. It is not good. You can't do anything about it. And so here they are, and the judge said, even knowing that, you still continued to deny the viability, the legality of the agreement that you entered into, and you put this person and this entity in bankruptcy.
Oh,
So,
we are big time. So I have a question. We have another slide up here.
yeah.
If you read that slide and give me your interpretation of it, and my question is, would Ryan Richardson's stated quote in a No Coal in Oakland website be something that someone who wants to sue him could use as evidence of this?
Well, let me read this now. So more specifically, California law mandates that a public entity and its employees may be held liable for intentional interference with prospective economic advantage and trade libel. That conclusion is grounded in the Government Code Section 820. So allowing to the same, so you can be held liable for acts or omissions to the same extent as private persons.
So, and it says intentional interference.
Yes. And that's a claim that is still live.
Intentional interference that he's saying, I'm going to stop coal in Oakland. He took a position there, right? I'm not a lawyer. I'm just saying, I'm not
sure. Right? Yeah, and I'm not. I don't want to opine on that, but I do think that he ought to be worried about it. The city attorney's office ought to be worried about it. The city of Oakland ought to be worried about it, and the city council people ought to be worried about that at all. Because you can't just ignore court orders. You can't just decide, I'm going to do what I want to do no matter what a court says. You just can't do that. And the city of Oakland has been told time and again that you don't have a defensible legal position. And even though we've told you that, you continue to try to ignore our court orders, and you continue to try to get around it. And you're losing at every step of the way. So, they all ought to be worried. And we are already on the verge of bankruptcy. And now, with respect to this ruling, certainly the court can order the payment of costs, the city attorney pay costs. I don't know if there's any attorney's fees provisions, but we're on the hook basically for losing this motion to dismiss. So that's more money that's coming out, in addition to the money that has been paid to the outside law firms to fight this losing battle. And the money that
they're going to have to send to Kentucky to fight it. Now they're going to start this bankruptcy case in the top of the year by early spring at the latest. I'm told that federal bankruptcy court moves fast because people's money's on the line. So there's a high incentive importance. Also, they don't have the clogged courts like many other people have.
Yep.
How concerned are you that we're going to continue to stay entrenched in our position and fight this battle, even though it's a losing one, costing $2-3 million more estimated? And then if we lose it, and again, I'm not asking you to give a written opinion. You're not giving a legal opinion on paper or record. You're retired now, so you don't have to be married to it. But in these situations, typically to your knowledge, $1 billion, it looked like the judge is mad at us for lying, and they're going to rule. And if they rule against us, it's going to be anywhere from $1 to $1 billion. What are we looking at in terms of damages here for the city?
Well, you're looking at the amount of money that ITS has had to pay out, has lost, basically. You're looking at lost profits. You're looking at a number of grounds and bases.
They're a single entity company, as was discussed in this company. So they were formed for the sole purpose of this case, of this business venture. How does that play into?
And they've done everything right. They've done everything they're supposed to do. They've done everything right. And it is the city the city of Oakland and city attorney who gave in to the political pressure. And the court even acknowledged that when it talked about how the city attorney passed the ordinance and resolutions and stuff. And it said it looks like it was bowing to political pressure. And so what you've done was this bow to political pressure without any legal basis has set off a chain reaction, so to speak. And the plaintiff ITS has done everything that it could possibly do. But the city attorney, city of Oakland, has still refused to do what the courts have asked it to do. So I'm very, very worried. I'm a taxpayer in Oakland. It's bad enough that we're going bankrupt. I don't know. I don't see how the city is going to avoid a bankruptcy. We do not have the luxury of giving in to the political pressure of a small group of people to have the city be its own personal law firm.
So what is behind this? I don't understand why is someone so scared. I'm not scared of these bullies. You weren't scared of them, but it actually has real consequences, it appears, in Oakland's political discourse. What message do you have for voters out there who are watching this program who are triggered by the environmental impact and don't understand? Doesn't matter how you feel about that. The city of Oakland is going bankrupt because we took a losing case. We should have never signed it in the first place. Hold Libby accountable.
Exactly. And whenever it was signed, it looks like things went back to 2013. Whatever was going on, the reality is that you have a case, you have several cases pending. Any rational attorney and any reasonable elected official needs to step back and evaluate the case and look to see what we can do going forward. It's all fine and well from a matter of principle to talk about, we don't need coal in Oakland, but there is a law, the law, and you have case law as well. You got law of the case that already says that the agreements were valid. So you can't just decide, okay, I'm just going to stay with this political principle. And let me be clear, and I reiterated it through my campaign. I do not support coal in Oakland. What I support, though, is complying with the law and complying with orders from courts. And if you don't do that, if you feel that you are above the law, you are eventually going to suffer greatly, particularly financially. So Oakland cannot decide to keep on bowing to the bullying of the no coal in Oakland people who basically say, I don't even want to discuss any kind of resolution. You need to sit down. You need to come to the table. You need to try to figure out what is the best way forward, because we cannot afford to continue to spend millions of dollars, and we cannot afford $1 billion judgment against the city. So
it's scary. I would say even the low end of a couple $100 million. But keep in mind, this company was valued at over $1 billion. Yep.
So you just have people
pissed off rich people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have money to pay them millions of dollars in legal fees. Yeah. Oakland does not at this financial state. Yeah. I want to add a few more things. If you add up the millions we spent on these lawsuits, the money we've not gotten paid in the lease, the money we've not gotten in taxes from billions of dollars in revenue, here's my personal opinion. Being that it is a finite amount of coal, and they've already discussed covering it and mitigating environmental impact, weighing that with the need for industry and jobs, the fact that we're already shipping coal to Richmond every single day, so it's already being shipped to the port a few miles north, uncovered, that is. You can see the cars going by from the freeway when you drive up the 80 or whatever that is, 80 or the freeway, right? It's all posturing to me. It's not a real tangible benefit from the community, from a cost benefit analyst of what Oakland needs right now. And you have a group of people who are willing to develop that area outside of coal, who are already looking past that, because again, here's a bunch of coal right here. If I can just ship it over here and out to China or wherever, we make a bunch of money and then it's gone. There's no more coal. They're not in the mining business. I actually don't really have an issue with it. I think we're being petty and stupid and vindictive, and it's actually cost us a lot of money and opportunity. The fact that these individuals, these business owners are still willing to negotiate. You know why? You want to know why the people in Oakland are willing to negotiate right now at this state in the game? Because they're from here. One of them's mother-in-law lives here. They actually care about the city of Oakland. They don't hate the city. They don't want to see the city suffer. They can have a difference of opinion on the environmental impact of coal, but I'll shorten this so you can say a few last words. If we're having a real, honest debate about environmental impact and what people, and I live in West Oakland. Exactly. I live in the lower bottom. I have had a negative impact on my lung and whatever health. I know that I've had this negative impact, and I am less healthy because of the amount of smoke and vehicle fires that we breathe in from daily vehicle fires. There are RVs all over leaking in sewage and oil and all types of nasty stuff into the estuary. The impact that we're seeing from our unchecked, unhousing, our homeless crisis, the RV crisis, the drug tourism crisis, and the fires, again, these fires and vehicle fires are so nasty. One vehicle fire is like a whole month of coal coming through Oakland. That's happening every day. We're not being serious right now. No. We're not being serious right now about this stuff. And it really makes me upset that we have unserious, unqualified, seemingly unintelligent leaders in our office. And I may be here with a green bat in the background with some sunglasses on, playing with some sock puppets in my little man cave, having fun. But all jokes aside, this ain't no joke. I pay taxes too. We're about to go bankrupt. We are about to go bankrupt twice over because no one's even. Oh, that wasn't the peace sign, guys. It ain't time to end it yet. Don't give me the balloons yet. But it's just not a single soul in the media. No one in the city finance department, no one in the city attorney's department is talking about this case. Why? Am I have a tinfoil hat? Is this the tin hat on my head? Am I crazy to think that this case has merit and we should be following and monitoring and taking this very seriously? Or it's just, am I crazy or am I not crazy?
You know what it is? It's almost like the defund the police people. You think that you have this principle that's, and everybody ought to fall in place. But when there's no practicality that's put forth, when you don't realize the practical implications of your position, and these no-coal people, they're not living over in West Oakland. Many of them, I think, are in Marin or someplace else. They're not having to deal with it. My family members are over in West Oakland. Many of them are over in West Oakland, family members and friends in West Oakland. I've been in Oakland for more than 50 years. I lived in West Oakland my first several years here, for the first 10 or 20 or 30 years there. So it is not like I don't care about Oakland, and people who are reasonable realize that this is not about a philosophical debate. This is about we are stuck where we are. We entered into an agreement. Now let's try to see what we can do to make the best of it, because we've fought it as far as we can. But spending more millions trying to appeal, trying to do everything else when chances are we're going to continue to lose, we cannot afford to do that. So you cut your losses. You try to figure out what is the best way forward. And when I said let's try to address all of the interests, not the positions. When you get people saying my position is no coal and my position is, those kinds of polemics do not help at all. You have to deal with where you are. We cannot afford to keep spending millions and millions of dollars. And the city attorney's office doesn't tell you how much money has been spent on the coal.
I've been trying to find out. They don't give me my
you are not going to find it out. And what I promised to do, had I been elected city attorney, was every annual report would tell voters how much has been spent to date on every open case. We don't get that.
Let's start a campaign to do that. We can have our city council demand that.
We can try. I think voters are going to have to start to demand it. I think
Well,
I
that's what I
think
mean. We.
I think
That's what I mean.
Oaklanders
We.
are going to have to start saying we want to know how much money. They can do that now. Go to a city council meeting.
Yeah. How long should it take to audit city department? Could we ask for that in the public records request? Could we ask for that audit? How about we talk to Michael? How about we talk to Michael?
I don't know that you can in the Public Records Act request.
No, we
can't.
You
can find out what exists in the public records. But there's going to need to be a movement. And one of the reasons I'm going to stay involved in Oakland and Oakland politics is to make sure that we give Oaklanders what they deserve and that there is, in fact, some transparency. And so that they are educated on how our money is being spent. Because for too long, we have just allowed money to be spent and we have no idea where it's going.
None.
So
none.
Yeah,
it's the millions of dollars, Judgment.
Absolutely.
Millions.
And you look at the money going to nonprofit that nobody ever audits, the millions of dollars that are missing. Nobody can account for it. And this is why we are in the poor financial situation we are in Oakland, because there's not been oversight and people are too afraid to upset people. So they don't want to make it in. They don't want to challenge anybody. They don't want to hold people accountable. Oakland can no longer afford that. And
we can't. So I have a closing 2 questions for you. To Ryan Richardson, who won. Congratulations to Ryan for being our next city attorney. What message do you have for him? Not just about how he should be handling this Cole lawsuit, but mostly about the Cole lawsuit. Some friendly advice, sage advice from someone with much more experience on the matter, and someone who's a judge who can tell him maybe what this judge is thinking in Kentucky. And then second, Oakland's mayor race happening at the same time as we have a budget crisis. What do you expect to see out of the candidate field running for mayor in their commentary on Oakland's current budget crisis? 2 questions. Take all the time you need. It's raining outside. I'm going to sit back and relax.
I think for Ryan is going to have to find the backbone and the courage to do what needs to be done. He has not demonstrated that. He didn't demonstrate it as the chief assistant city attorney. I'm not optimistic he's going to demonstrate that as the city attorney. And what you need is someone in the city attorney's position who does have that courage to tell people, to tell the city council members, the members of the city council, this is where you need to go. And you can always say, oh, well, the city council is the one that sets policy. They're the ones that make the decision. But you're the city attorney. And you are to be working for all of the residents of Oakland, all Oaklanders, including me. And you need to make sure that you have their best interests at heart. I'm not optimistic, quite frankly, that Ryan has the capability to do that. He's been elected. The voters have spoken, even though many of them thought that he was already the city attorney because of his ballot designation as the chief city attorney, which was misleading and erroneous and everything. But anyway,
it should not have cleared.
It should not. It should never go that way. But that's another discussion about how careless
we're gonna have it. Don't worry. Okay, the mayor election. Yes. Whoever's running for mayor right now, we got a budget crisis. Yep. What do you want to see from people running for mayor?
What I want to see
what do you think Oakland needs? That's about actually scratch that question. I have a better question. My apologies.
Yeah, but let me do this though. Can I just say this though? We need somebody who cares about Oakland and who's able to put Oakland first, not their own personal agendas, not egos or anything of the sort. That's what we need in a mayor during this critical time. So I'll wait for you.
How many of those people are electable?
Oh, heck, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know who's going to be in the race. I do know that some people whoever's there needs to be in touch with Oaklanders. I look at the people, for example, who oppose the recalls, both of them, who call them anti-democratic. Who ignored the voices of the 40,000 plus people who signed the recall petition, who got up and said they're anti-democratic themselves, knowing that they were not anti-democratic. None of those people should even consider running to be mayor of Oakland.
Well, I hope you
Because
heard
you're
that,
not.
Barbara Lee.
I'm sorry.
I said, I hope you heard that, Barbara Lee. You should not consider running. All due respect to your legacy as a congresswoman and all that good stuff, whatever that's supposed to mean. 77% of Deep East Oakland District 7 voted for that recall.
Yep.
70% of District 6.
Yep. And
the communities have spoken overwhelmingly.
And those people spoke during the signature collection. Those people have spoken all along. And the people who were ridiculing us and talking about the size of our crowd and everything, they got a big kick. Oh, only 7 people, only 2. And they never, even though I would tell them, even on X, you need to be worried about the 40,000 plus people who signed the recall petition and not the people who don't take off time from work to come to a rally or to a press conference. And they did not do that. They ignored them. And the people showed them. They kicked out, they ousted Mayor Tao, and they kicked out the district attorney as well. Because you know why?
That was more bittersweet. That one's more bittersweet.
And you know why they did it? Because we talked to them. We touched their hearts and their souls. What we said was, we are listening to you. We know things are bad. We are acknowledging them. And all the people who talked about Sheng Tao, oh, it was crime and crime is getting better. We gave her a number of reasons for why we were recalling her. It was not just about crime. It was, in fact, including the homeless encampment policy. It was
very
other things.
Dishonest. This is when I started getting aggressive to complain about the media, which, by the way, Oakland Side is crying, talking about there are people out there attacking the media, and they may even try to have our 501c status removed, knowing they talk about me mainly because I'm on their butt.
Right.
It's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. How in the world do you not mention that?
Yep.
How do you miss that?
No
one's raising that.
And the Oakland Side, when I told them, listen, I asked you to cover certain issues. You didn't do those. You didn't cover those issues. You didn't cover Jim Channon's conflict of interest. You didn't cover Nikki Bass's conflict of interest. You didn't cover any of those things. And now you want some information that you're not entitled to. And so I said, I'm not talking to you. Don't bother me.
Not taking that as we're not cooperating with journalists. Like, these people think they have a right to harass you and lie about you and still.
Yes, indeed.
No, they've lost their mind. I say this too. Nikki Bass won. So there's a special election. Where's all the special election talk now, guys?
Yeah.
Where's all the special elections kind of cost a bunch of money? Nikki Bass, why are you accepting this victory? You shouldn't accept it because you said yourself the special election cost was too much. You said that yourself, and now you've caused a special election and you're quiet about it.
Right.
That's some glaring hypocrisy. Yeah. Also, they have written in multiple papers that the recall was about crime.
Exactly. And they know that's not true. They know it was about more than that.
Not just know. Let's take it in the courtroom for the judge. It's not just what you know, it's what you can prove. What is the only undisputable evidence about what the recall was about? What is the document that's time-stamped and will forever live in history? It's our 200-word statement we filed in January.
Correct.
That clearly outlines our grounds for a recall, as you're required to do by law.
Exactly.
And if you were to refer to that statement as the authority, which it is, you could not, in good faith, honestly say that the recall was mostly or all about crime, because they tried to use the fact that we didn't have any murders for the last month as an October surprise. Showman even says there's an October surprise. I'm like, what? Surprise, there's no murders, and you think that somehow delegitimizes our concerns about crime and retail theft and property crimes and no rule of law, or needing CHP to be supplemental here, or we don't have enough police to cover things, or our impending bankruptcy, or the botched stadium deal, or the fact that they changed the airport name and lost that case too, or the fact that we haven't spent the money from the ransomware attack and we're still vulnerable, or the fact that our registrar of voters continues to conduct fraudulent and illegal elections, or many other things that I could list right now that we're talking about with this administration. This is why we need new media in Oakland that is honest. These people are not honest.
I agree. And firing the police chief, and then saying, oh well, then when we unlawfully fired him and he got upset and made some statements that perhaps he shouldn't have, so that's going to justify after the fact your termination of him. You should not have.
He lost that case though.
Yeah, he should not have terminated. He lost that case, yes, but he did not lose before when he challenged his termination. And when he appealed his termination, a retired appellate court justice said he should not have been terminated and that the city should give him his job back. So that is still there. That had nothing to do.
No, only half of his lawsuit. I mean, he could appeal the other half that's lost. I'm not saying it's
so yeah, but he won his appeal. He won his appeal when he appealed his termination, and that order is still there. It's still in the record. This other thing is his lawsuit that was against the city, but that has nothing to do with his appeal that he won. And Justice Rivera.
So what's that for? Wrongful termination?
Yes, it basically was. I mean, he appealed his termination, and
but
so
isn't he an at-will employee?
He was an at-will employee, yes, but you still can't. If you read if you want to do that, but if you read Justice Rivera's opinion, it said that the basis for terminating him was not there. There was no dereliction of duties, and so he won that on his appeal. He then sued. And Judge Thompson said that she got rid of two of his causes of action, 2 or 3 of them.
We settled with Kirkpatrick for $5+ million. It didn't go to judgment, but we settled. So and she's an at-will too. So I'm not saying that he doesn't have a valid lawsuit. I just always like to be objective for my listeners and ask the right question. I'm very upset that LaRon lost, but I've said this on the program before. Every single person, and I'm not saying because you lost too, but you had a lot of handicaps. But everyone who should have won, who had a good chance to win, who didn't win, who was surprising, they didn't back the recalls. They didn't throw their heart and soul behind those recalls. And I don't understand it. I'm still asking that question. I still want to know why LaRon Armstrong did not show up to a single recall rally and why he made that calculated decision.
And can I just say that I don't think that matters, because not supporting the recall didn't guarantee a loss, just like supporting the recall didn't guarantee a win. If it was just support of the recall, I would have won. So it has more to do with that. So I don't know that we should try to blame LaRon for not.
Well, no, he lost due to ranked choice voting. Let's be real clear. But however, it's still like Ken Houston is an example. You know what set him apart from Iris? The recall. And Iris said at a public forum that the recall was anti-democratic. And 77% of her district votes for it.
And what I'm saying is that she said it was anti-democratic, and I believe that people did legitimately get upset at people who took that position. I mean, to tell those thousands of voters, and at the time 40,000 more who signed, you're telling them you engaged in an anti-democratic process, you engaged in anti-democratic activities by supporting a recall. It's just insanity. So you could have said anything other than it's anti-democratic.
You know why they said that? You know what? That's the talking point. So here's the thing about the progressive.
The talking points
and they stick to them.
Of Wellstone Democratic Renewal Club, their idiocy, and the talking points of Oaklanders, Oaklanders protecting democracy. Both of them got the word democracy and democratic in the names of their organizations. They don't know what democracy is. You don't call something that is democratic anti-democratic. You respect it. And what you do is try to say why they shouldn't be recalled. Talk about the merits of why they shouldn't be recalled, but don't accuse the supporters of being anti-democratic. Don't accuse the long-term Democrats, such as myself, who about and claim that they are right-wingers. Don't accuse that. Don't claim that all of this outside money is coming in from Piedmont when Cheng Tao and others have outside money from Piedmont. So they lost credibility.
Can
They just,
Piedmont be considered outside money when it's inside Oakland?
yes. And they
Like,
got all.
is your intestines not part of your body? Right? Because Piedmont is 100% surrounded by the city of Oakland. And so I think it's safe to say Piedmont is Oakland. We're splitting hairs here with the whole Piedmont thing, like you're talking about somebody in Danville or Dublin who's removed from the consequences of policies in the city of Oakland. They are faced with the same consequences of Oakland's policies as we are, because they cannot leave their home or their city without going through Oakland.
Exactly. And you had Cheng Tao got donations from out of state people, all of those Walmart.
Oh no, over 60% of her donations came from outside of Oakland and Piedmont.
Yes.
Piedmont.
And Piedmont.
And
so
Piedmont.
It was, I think that voters were just sick of being lied to. They were sick of being misled. They were sick of people treating them as though they can't.
Then how did Warren Logan lose to Fife?
I don't know. I think that
my hypothesis is
Fife
had
Fife
the recall won.
Yeah, Fife had, but that's why I say I don't think position on the recall determined whether someone would win or lose.
No, I don't think it was the end all, but I think here's what I mean by that. It shows what they lost for was not taking clear position. In District 3, we won 54% for the recall. The Pam Price recall lost District 3. Pam Price recall won every district in Oakland except 1 and 3. 1 and 3 are the gentrified district. The North Pole and West Oakland being by Bud. So that's where all the new renters are. That's where all the white renters and rich people who move to Oakland. That's the gentrified areas. They vote for the luxury politics and the progressive stuff. But even District 3 voted to recall Shane, which was telling. Like D1 didn't, but D3 did. Why is that? A lot of the black people there, because I did exit interviews, there are a lot of black people there who are extremely pro-black, Black Panther, Black Power. They're progressive.
Right.
When I asked them how they voted, I exit interviewed 3 black people, 2 men and 1 woman. They all said the exact same thing, and that's what happened. Everyone, as they said, ended up winning. They said, I did not vote to recall Pam Price. She did. I'm sorry, that's the only one. She got recalled. But they said, I did vote to recall Cheng Tao. I voted for Carol Fife. I voted for Nikki Bass. I voted for Ryan Richardson. I voted for Chief Armstrong. That's what all 3 say. And when I asked why Ryan Richardson, they said the coal in Oakland. That worked in West Oakland with the progressive. And when I asked why Chief Armstrong, they said because he's from West Oakland. And they had loyalty to Chief Armstrong because they were black. It didn't matter who the progressive candidate was to them. They couldn't even name anybody else. I've not talked to a single voter who even knew who Rowena was. I'm still trying to figure that one out, how she got more votes than LaRon Armstrong. But anyway, we got to end this program. But I want to edit some out. I'll put up the whole thing right away, and then I'll put some shorter ones about certain topics so people don't have to go shifting through it.
Yeah, we have talked a lot.
Well, that's fine. It's a rainy day. It's what we're here for. People like the long form podcast. And then we can edit it down and release some more stuff so people can get the information. But I'm worried about our city.
I am too. And as a closing statement, I'm very, very concerned about Oakland. I got involved in all this because I was concerned about Oakland. I'm very, very troubled about our future because we don't have enough people who are concerned about Oakland. We don't have enough people who are in positions of leadership who have the courage to stop some of the things that are taking Oakland down. We need employees back to work. We need to stop having the so much time taken in terms of getting permits through. We need development in Oakland, and property owners and developers can't move forward because of the bottleneck, the bureaucracy. And we need somebody who can come in and say, okay, now we really have to get to work. I want all employees in the office 5 days a week because we are public servants and we need to serve the public.
Get back to work.
And look at the poll that was done by Chamber of Commerce. The vast majority of people said they want employees back to work. They want public employees back to work. So
y'all heard that, Mayor Hopefuls. Put that in your list of demand. Show some resolve and courage and demand employees come back to work and tell that to 10 to 1 and Local 21 to tell their members to get back to work. We don't pay for that. All right. Great closing statement. Peace, y'all. Thank you, Judge Bender. Always.
Right. Take care. All right.
Thank you. I'll see you around. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a great holiday.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here.